You started.
Yep. All right, welcome everybody. This is the Reasonable Coaching Project, also known as the Architects of Humanity program. My name is Sam Brown, and I'm here tonight with the awesome Mr. Brian Sykes, and we're here just to have a little chat and introduce some concepts to everybody, kind of under the radar. But first off, Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're at and introduce yourself?
Well, hello everyone. I think everyone knows me from my time in my home country, South Africa, but I'm actually in Portland at the World Domination Summit this full week. So, World Domination Summit are young, conscious architects that get together with the idea of starting a revolution and doing some pretty interesting things in the world. So I'm quite excited to be here. Been to a couple of sessions already. That is quite excited. Talked to a session yesterday about starting a revolution and literally going through the dynamics of how to start a revolution. So I thought about Great to Life for All, certainly, and some of the other projects that I'm already working on. So I'm quite excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Not as excited as I am to be here with you because there's definitely some awesome individuals in this entire reach, and there will certainly continue to be. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about, for those of you that are kind of paying attention, a little while ago, a couple months ago, I did a hangout with Tom, and I talked about one of my desires of one of the first initial reasons why I wanted to talk to Tom personally is because of his success on Udemy. I had taken his Science of Getting Rich course, loved it. Of course, it was a book that was a seminal book in my personal development, and I wanted to pick his brain on kind of how he laid that out and how he had achieved a little bit of success in the Udemy sphere. And my last hangout, it was very much, I felt on the hot seat. I do a lot of in front of the camera stuff, but that one hangout was, my script just went crazy because I had actually, I guess, put out there that I wanted to do this kind of, fitness course because I'm a lifelong fitness person. I kind of live that experience in life, but I also have been so enamored with all of the metaphysical tools that I've always been latent inside of me that I've really been uncovering and shining and using over the past year or so. And so I wanted to kind of mesh that together. I didn't really know how that looked, and we had done that hangout, and some time had passed, and I was like, oh well, maybe that was just a feeler desire. Maybe that wasn't a full one because one of my main desires is creating a 13x4 app. This is one of the reasons why Tom and I joined up, and we're about on the precipice of releasing an app that I'm really excited about. It's really the culmination of a vision of mine from a while ago. But it was interesting because just from being in this community and just from networking with all of these really amazing people, and Brian Sykes included, Mr. Sykes was going to Panama. As for those of you who don't know, dude is a straight up globetrotter. You better watch out because he could be in your town at any time. And so at one point he could be here, he could be there, but this particular month he happened to be spending some time in Panama, not Panama City, but the actual Panama. And we were texting back and forth, and he's like, dude, you should do that course. And I'm like, nah. My script was like, nah, I don't know what I'm doing. Dude, you should do a course. You're awesome. Long story short, there was this Udemy promotion, and they were like, hey, if you publish a course by June 11th, which was like 10 days away from when we were talking, then we'll promote your course. And Brian's like, hey, they're going to promote your course if you do it within 10 days. Long story short, we created a course called Fitness Mojo for Life, and it's this concept of Mojo, integrated lifestyle, and applying that to a fitness aspect. And it was a whirlwind of experience, and it's been a really cool experience. And I've learned a lot, not only about myself, not only about Brian, not only about Mojo, but before we get into the details of it, Brian, tell me a little bit about what does the word Mojo mean to you, and why is that a relevant aspect to fitness?
Well, yeah, I got the word mojo from many of my clients that I work with in investing and entrepreneurism. And so some of them say, you know, hey, when I'm working with you, it feels as if I got my mojo back because much of my work, you know, as many may know, I have a background, although I'm in this investment arena, I have a background in neuroscience, and so I use this background, this unique background, to help people with the science of human judgment and decision making. So many of them talk about mojo, and mojo literally is a guardian spirit that's always with you. So mojo is your genius. So anyone can have a mojo and access this mojo. And so when we came up with this title of the name, we said, you know, we put fitness, which means a suitability and a certain quality of suitableness. And we said, okay, so fitness mojo, you can have that for life. That's going to be ongoing. And fitness doesn't necessarily have to be the physical aspects. And so literally just kind of galvanizing all of these thoughts in 10 days was the most incredible ride I've ever been on. And you know, the markets crash and people get kind of frantic. And so I'm kind of used to this roller coaster ride all the time. But nothing can compare to putting a course together in 10 days, and we're in different locales and different time zones and all these different kinds of things that it took to do it. It was a blast. And like you said, you learned a lot about me. I learned a lot about me. I learned a lot about you as well. So it's very interesting that we could actually do this. I'm not sure whose bright idea it was just yet, but that's okay.
No, no, we'll attribute blame much later, much later. But you know, one of the things that always really inspired me about Tom Cassidy, who I consider a mentor in my life, is that dude takes action. Dude gets an idea and just straight up takes action. And Brian is exactly like that, where when he gets something stuck in his mind, he's going to turn the invisible visible very soon. And you know, that's one of the aspects that personally I've been kind of tiptoeing. I will stick a toe in something and not do something. And so for me, it was a really really kind of a positive experience of taking something from an idea to done in the most absolute quickest time possible. I mean, I even took 2 days off work during that week just to crank on this stuff. And what's crazy is that the course is almost done. When I say that we did all the work in 10 days, literally what we're going to show you tonight, we did 95% of the course in 10 days. And then we realized, you know, it was one of those things where Brian was like, whoa, he's like, dude, you are working way too hard on this. This is actually the antithesis of what we're trying to teach for this kind of stuff. And so took a deep breath and just kind of, you know, because I had been going hardcore on a lot of the editing and video production and all that kind of stuff, full on for days on end, and was kind of burning the candlestick at both ends, so to speak. And we actually did hit publish on June 11th. Turns out, you know, one of the awesome aspects that I look forward to sharing with all of the architects who are interested on publishing on Udemy is we have both learned a ton about the ins and outs of doing Udemy. There's some certain hoops you need to jump through that we were not aware of. There are some certain aspects that they'd like to see in your course that if you don't have, you can't actually publish, and that kind of stuff. And you know, all that's totally cool. So you know, we kind of pulled the brakes back, and then you know, kind of a little bit of backstory. Tom and I at the end of the cycle decided to go to really go full out on the app. So I literally kind of switched gears for a little bit and went back to you know, one of my huge projects that I have going on outside of work, which I spend 8 hours in a day job and then come home and work for hours and hours and hours. So so long story short, we're really excited to release this course. Over the course of the next week, we're going to put the finishing touches of it and put it out there. But we want to make it available to all of you for absolutely free, and just get some feedback or whatever you can get out of it, because it's been a really cool experience. Not only in creating a course, but also just doing something, you know, taking something from the invisible to the visible. And I believe that is our most divine-like feature that we share with our Creator, is that ability right there. So let me jump the screen share over here. And 1 second, pause with me.
There we go. Ta-da!
So this is Brian. Do you see the 13 by 4 wheel?
No, I see you and I.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, man. So one of the funniest aspects about this thing is, so Brian, we decided on a Tuesday to create this course. On like Wednesday, Brian's like, "Hey, what if I were to come there?" I'm like, "Come where?" He's like, "Well, you know, I'm a globetrotter. This is how I roll. I can totally." I can be anywhere in a short amount of time, and he was kind of nearby, like Panama, like South Africa is over here. Panama is a little closer to my neighborhood. For those that don't know, I'm in Tallahassee, Florida, and he's like, "What if I were to come there?" Brian has some family in Ocala, Florida, which happens to be about half an hour south of my hometown of Gainesville, Florida, and so we launched a special ops project, and Brian. What did you call? What does special ops mean?
On purpose, OP, on purpose. So it's a secret mission. Didn't want to tell anyone. In fact, did not tell my family that I was coming because I really needed to be in Panama. I really was not supposed to be leaving because I had deadlines, had people meetings, all these kinds of things. But something in me just said, you know, if we're going to do this course, we have to have video. So why not? If I can come there, I have some frequent flyer miles. It's not going to cost me anything. I'm close by. I won't tell anyone where I am. I told one of my family members just in case something happens, but I'm not depending on anything happening. But only one person knew where I was, and it was one of my family members that I knew would not, breach that trust, so to speak, and talk. So it was very interesting because Tom, who I consider to be a mentor to myself as well, he's always says start before you're ready. And my script was saying, Brian, you have deadlines, you're always busy, you're always doing, you have this to do, this to do, this to do. I just stopped everything and said, Sam, what if I come there? And says this awkward pause. He says, what do you mean come there? No, what if I come there? We can do the video in a day or so, but you will have to come down and meet me because if I'm using frequent flyer miles, you have blackout dates, you can only travel certain times. So we had all of these hoops to jump through, but it still took action and just came there. And it was this secret mission, although I ended up staying longer than anticipated. But this whole adventure, the special ops, was just so much fun for me.
Yeah, that was absolutely awesome, and it was funny too because I literally found out a day or two ahead of time, and so I'm like, yeah, I guess, but then it was like, yeah, man, let's do this, absolutely. I'll see you there. A buddy of mine has a video production business, and I've spent years doing video production back in the day, so it's not a problem. I was like, I can get the equipment, we just need a place to shoot. And so here's me on the phone calling around Ocala, which for those of you that probably don't know where the heck Ocala is on a map, it's not a big town. It's a medium-sized town, even smaller than the small town that I'm in. But we ended up being in the public library. And this just happened to be so perfect. The public library has these rooms you can rent for free if you're a if you are a nonprofit, and we were like, yeah, I'm with the Greater Life for All project. What? Who doesn't want some of that? And it was really interesting because we were able to come together, and it was so awesome because I have so many of these really intimate friends, spiritually intimate friends that I consider that I've never really met, and to meet Brian in person was so awesome. And we spent all day. We got the place. I think we went in there at like noon or something like that, and left at about 4 or 5. But we shot the intro series of the video. The rest of the course was just too big to do all in one day. We never would have been able to pull that off. So we did what Tom suggested, which is the kind of the Blackboard thing, where we would, for future sessions after that, we would jump on Skype, or and I would record those calls, and then afterwards I would go back and do some scribing kind of over the talking. Very exactly how Tom did the Science of Getting Rich course, which if y'all are watching this, you're probably familiar with. So it's just been an amazing experience, and it's going to lead to a lot more amazing experiences. And if nothing else, one of the big themes about this cycle that Tom and I have been talking about, and that Tom's really inspired me to do, is to live out loud. And that means something different for everybody. But for me personally, that meant just challenging my script on all bases, doing more of this, doing more of being in front of the camera, doing more of trying to doing more of just being out there, of letting my voice be heard. And this is, by golly, is one of the biggest things I could have possibly done for that, because it was a huge deal, and it was my script was howling the whole time, because I'm like, probably don't even deserve to share the same airspace with a guy like Brian or with Tom. But it was one of those things where I was just like, let's go ahead and get this going. So let me jump over and introduce the course a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Pardon me one second.
Yep, the course is there.
Perfect. So what's really cool about some of these, this whole first section is all in person. Like, this is us really just introducing the concepts that we feel are really relevant to the whole course. And of course, we're going to pay homage to Tom Cassidy and his mentor here, because you can't really go down this road without accessing the big three: the script, the sausage machine, and the 13x4, but also what would you choose. These are really the fundamental tools to pretty much everything moving forward, including the app. So these are in person, and they're super cool. They're us hanging out in a conference room of a public library, shooting and doing that kind of stuff, and you'll get a kick out of those. That was a lot of fun. But let's look at the overall structure of the course. So, crafting a vision for success is section 2, and I really have to give a lot of credit to Brian, because he's really the mastermind behind a ton of this content. I just kind of showed up and pressed play on a lot of this stuff. But crafting a vision for success, the fundamentals of transformation, some great tools in here. The power of framing. I mean, a lot of you guys will be familiar with a lot of this stuff. Mastering change and managing transition. The 4 domains of fitness and integrative well-being. That's kind of the overall key of Mojo, is living from your full center, not being purely physical or being purely mental, but really living from your full center is really one of the big parts of it. The body, the mind, emotions, and you can see some of these lectures are kind of beefy. Like, this is 20 minutes. A lot of these other ones are relatively good stuff, and really just us flowing. We could have gone a lot longer. Section 5 is definitely one of my favorites. This is flexing your metaphysical muscles. And what's amazing to me is this is literally my vision incarnate, because what I wanted to do is create a course where we would help people take stock of their mental economy and really begin to leverage those tools to do stuff. So you've got an abundance mindset, gratitude, unlimited thinking, creating expanding beliefs, visualizing, thought-focused push-ups. You'll have to see the course to see some of that stuff. Creating a magnetizing thought atmosphere and thought gripping. Really cool stuff where you can apply these things in your life on a daily basis and begin to really see some interesting results that you get from that. And so the overall structure of the course, we even had some sessions where Brian and I were just talking out loud, and those thinking out loud sessions were really cool. So, excuse me. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is done. It's just a matter of putting the finishing touches of it and getting it up there. Brian's created some awesome chapter summaries for each one of these. And what came out of that is we have a 13x4 wheel for this stuff. Pardon me one second while I jump back to the screen share. And Brian's going to talk us through a little bit about this. And of course, it's gone. Brian, I'm going to toss to you real quick. If you want to tell me a little bit about your impression of the overall courses and how it was kind of laid out while I pull up this wheel.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know, as we said, we wanted to really offer something that was simple, something pragmatic that people can apply and use every day. And that's part of this whole idea of fitness. I often tell, you know, when we were putting this course together, when I'm meeting with investors and entrepreneurs, they're coming to me for something called financial fitness. However, that financial fitness certainly impacts and influences other areas of their life. And so this idea of looking at things from an integrated perspective was key. So it's not far off, because some people were asking me, well, I don't get the title of your course, Fitness Mojo. So what does that really mean? And why are you involved in Fitness Mojo? And so I had to really explain to them that a lot of times I deal with high net worth people and individuals, but other areas of their life suffer. And so this idea of using an integrated framework was key to the whole idea of the course. I really like the way that it come together, particularly as you said, your favorite section of flexing your metaphysical muscles, because we really wanted to, since we were going with a fitness theme, to use exercises that you would normally use, like dips, which is deep integrative paradigm shifting. And so you use these kind of this kind of terminology that symbolizes physical exercises, but it's really meant to really connect the body. And a lot of this really hits home for me because, as many of you know, I was a preemie baby, so a lot of alternative medicine, particularly martial arts and things like that, have been a central part of my life that really connected me with my body. So I've been in martial arts for over 30 years. Literally, so these kinds of things really really resonated with me, and they're part of my daily experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're gonna. This is the 13 by 4 wheel. Brian, let me know when you see that.
Yes, yes, this is awesome. So as you see, the 13 by 4 wheel, there's 4 dimensions there, as we talked about the basics of the foundation part of the idea of experiencing Mojo: spirit, spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental. So in other words, it's about managing your energy on a daily basis through the lens of those 4 domains there. And then going around the wheel there, as you see, we have the thought focus points, and the thought algorithms and the focus points there. And so a lot of it, like for instance, number 2 there, active life design versus life just happens. And so it's talking about the hero's journey. And that was a personal one for me, because I oftentimes I'm telling people and sharing with them that life and destiny in and of itself unfolds. You can't accumulate. And so people have this acquisitive mindset about life, and they come to settle, and that's fate. That is not destiny. And there's a difference between the two. And you know, if you look at number 4 there, your signature presence is greater than indoctrination, or even domestication is another word that we could have used there. And I got that from Buckminster Fuller, who talks about and says we each have our own unique pattern identity. And part of our life is learning how to cooperate with that unique pattern identity. But if you look at education arenas, even some religious formats and institutions that are out there, everyone's goal is to get you to be like everyone else. And so the idea of signature presence is the hero's journey, because it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of stamina to stand on your own 2 feet when everyone is trying to get you to be so different than the same as everyone else. And so we really wanted to focus on some things that people can put into practice there. I was really excited. And the wheel, Sam is like, I think Sam undersells himself because he knows this stuff. I often said, one of the things I pick up about Sam is it matters not what's going on in his world. He just speaks, and it always sounds as if he's smiling. And I can always feel that kind of presence. And he's a genius when it comes to putting this stuff together. I can just give him an inch of an idea, and he envisions this whole big thing there. So this, you see, this is Sam's work here with the wheel. It looks totally awesome.
Yeah, thank you for that, man. That means more than you know. It's been a really cool experience too for me, because what's so freaking crazy is I've never done anything in front of the camera or anything like this. I've been a student of personal development for over 15 years now, and it's been something that I've lived with, but I've never started using in my daily life until I met Tom. And when I first crossed paths with Tom, and it hasn't even been a year yet. I think late September, early October is when Tom and I decided to really go out and do something. But when I started applying the big 3, when I started applying the metaphor of the script, the sausage machine, and what would you choose on a daily basis, I've seen the things that have been brimming up inside of me just explode over the past short 8 or 9 or 10 months. And so this to me is a culminate. It's a personal signpost for me, and I couldn't be more chuffed to be involved with someone like Brian on this kind of stuff, and really with all of you out there, because all of us, even if you're not, even if you're a lurker in the community or on the WhatsApp chat, your energy is still contributing to what we're accomplishing. The energy is absolutely palpable, and it's going to lift all of us to places where we couldn't even imagine. Just like, just like myself, man. If you would have told me a year ago I'd be doing this kind of stuff, I would have looked at you like you're crazy, because not only would I not have the confidence, but now I didn't even know about the concept of the script, but I never would have allowed myself permission to be able to do something like this. So really, really cool stuff, man. And we've actually got something else in the pipeline. Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're interested in for the next cycle?
Yeah, so since we're working with this idea of Mojo, one of the things I shared with Sam, and all that he just said, I share the same sentiments, because I get to speak to audiences all the time, but it's in a very fixed, formatted way that's industry standard, so to speak. And so when I'm speaking about some of these new concepts, it's still fresh, it's still new, so some people are not getting it, and it's almost as if there's a bit of fight there. There's interest in it, but there's no commitment to it. And so doing something like this just offered me another platform where I can infiltrate different industries, infiltrate different corporations. So, but since we're working with this idea of Mojo, and one of my big things for over the next 6 months is rebranding and re-envisioning what I do. And so literally starting this holdings company that focuses on human potential. That's what I'm all about. And investing in projects, ideas, concepts that help advance man. And so I told Sam, since we have this Fitness Mojo for Life, why not take that, build it out with the brand? They had the 13x4 app coming out there. And so I said, you think of something that you're working in now, it's like you're part of it, you're subject to that in the corporate arena. I'm subject to that because when I meet with investors and entrepreneurs, we have to pull teams together. They don't do it in the most effective way, and so they go through these cycles of pain that they don't need to have. So say, why not focus now on Career Mojo for Life?
Nice.
And so the idea of Career Mojo for Life is that your career is a lot different than a job itself. A job is just something that you do, but a career is what you do over a lifetime. I committed a lifetime, which started out in medicine and ended up that I'm doing the same thing. I'm still about the business of human potential, about advancing humanity. That is my career. That's been something with me. And as I go back and look over my life, that is a constant theme of interest. It's the constant source that's always attracting my attention. So that's my career. Now, you may have many jobs over your lifetime, but you will tend to have one career. And one true career that's really synergizes and motivates you from the inside out. And that's part of that, living that signature presence, your unique pattern identity. So why not create a course that truly goes after corporate America, because there's so much of what they're not doing well that really takes away the human condition, if you will, of people in the marketplace. And I'm seeing this at a rapid pace. I'm seeing how it's tearing people away. I was telling Sam that Harvard in their research coined a term, presenteeism, that said it costs organizations now $492 billion for people to show up. So we know what absenteeism is, when people don't show up. So now it's costing organizations money for people to show up at work because they're not being productive. Secretly, 1 out of 3 are looking for jobs. And when they do leave, it has nothing to do with money. It has a lot to do with I was underappreciated, undervalued, I was not recognized. So these are all internal factors and meaning that people are disconnected to. So there's a human condition that I think that we can address through using metaphysical powers, and create a personal development, personal leadership course for, and then infiltrate them with the 13x4 app and even some consulting. So that's kind of our next project there that we're going to consider doing, that we are doing, because we already kind of mapped it out.
Yeah, like I said, when Brian gets an idea, you bar the doors because you can't stop him from doing stuff. Kind of had this thing, and he started pinging me with these shots of these like little insane scribblings all over the walls and stuff like that. No, not really, but yeah, it's been pretty exciting because he definitely takes stuff and really incubates it to the full extent. And honestly, from my perspective, I've been an entrepreneur, and for the past few years I've been in the corporate environment, so I feel like I really have an understanding of both elements. And currently I'm in a corporate environment where I don't necessarily want to be forever, and so I want to bring a perspective of applying these and really the metaphysical application, because just like applying metaphysics to your overall fitness, not the fitness in terms of like your your fat count and all that kind of stuff, but your fitness in terms of how you're showing up in life. Applying these metaphysical aspects is something that I think I'm going to have a lifelong fascination with, because it's something that I was never ever taught. I was never ever shown this entire side of my being, and I want to usher that side of individuals' beings into their lives, so that it has such a profound effect that it's had on my life, because it's been a dramatic increase into my overall quality of life, and has nothing to do with the things around me, and has everything to do with the absolute joy that I experience on a daily basis because of this knowledge. And so imagine taking that into a corporate environment and helping teams build out themselves to whether you want to be, if you want to be an entrepreneur, awesome. If you want to be an intrapreneur, awesome. If you want to be an employee, awesome. Here's the best way to live to your full potential in those areas. And so it's going to be, it should be really exciting, and of course we'll keep everybody updated, because we're going to be releasing this other course in this cycle as well. So it should be really interesting. Should be interesting going, man. But it's been an amazing experience, Brian. Thank you so much for all your hard work and putting up with me on the late nights and all that good stuff.
Well, I should say thank you to you for putting up with me, because I get these ideas, I have no idea where they're going, but I do just kind of sense that they can impact, because I'm always on the lookout. As I say, if the cornerstone, the chief cornerstone of my existence, as I see it, is about the human potential, advancing humanity, I'm always on the lookout for those kinds of visions and ideas, and then the promptings, if you will. That's what gets me jazzed up, and then I have a hard time sleeping. So I see how this could help even greater life for all, and building this platform, if you will, that we can really take to the next level for it. Because they say, as I'm introducing these concepts to the larger context of audiences, is starting to take, but people are not really committed to it because they need to see something in action. So the more they see these projects out there that are designed on a creative plane, is speaking creative plane language, is creating and based on creative plane economics, then we start to usher in this new model, this new way of thinking, being, and doing. And that's kind of the master plan behind some of this that I'm approaching it from. So it's very awesome, and I really appreciate your partnership in this, because you have a sensibility of saying, okay, Brian, your vision is like way out there, but can we look at it from this perspective here, so that we can be able to apply something? Because I'll miss the details. I'm sometimes not as interested in the details as I am in the big vision part. So that's where I get myself in trouble.
Awesome. Well, please do get in more trouble with yourself, because you seem to do very well at it. And again, I like what you said there. This is definitely a component in the Greater Life for All project, amongst the other things. I definitely, see I see a lot of synergy coming from all of this. And so, whether this kind of living out loud is something that you're interested in or not, I would encourage you to push your boundaries beyond their comfort level, wherever they may lie, because all the magic happens outside of your comfort level. If you stay always in your comfort zone, whatever that is, it's different for everybody, but if you stay there the whole time, trust me, you're not, and this is speaking from a lot of experience of spending a lot of time in that comfort zone, you're not going to really find the mojo that exists in your life. And that's such a powerful word for me, and for my interpretation, that just means in the spirit of. And so when I have mojo, I'm in the spirit of. And again, the whole aspect of the mental science and the metaphysical aspects, this is going to be where I spend the rest of my life focusing on, and hopefully helping other people discover some of the amazing things that are right underneath the surface of reality, but for a lot of people's lives go entirely untouched in terms of their potential to affect positive change, not only in your own life, not only in the lives of the people that you live with, not only in the lives of your community, but the entire world. And so that's great stuff, man. Brian, we've done it, man. This is the kickoff thing, so I really appreciate that. Any last words for the audience moving forward?
I would say in the famous Tom Cassidy words, start before you're ready.
Amen.
Because, I've been in this business, in this industry, investment and entrepreneurship, practically all of my life once I decided that medicine was not the route. And you can't possibly know everything up front. And, you can spend a lot of time trying to. So start before you're ready. As Sam just said, the mojo is created while you're in action. In fact, I would say action trumps contemplation in the sense that you will get true data, true information of what's working and what's not working. And so, there's a risk for not taking action, and there's a risk for taking action. I much rather take action and abide by that risk there where I'm moving towards some trajectory than to deal with the pain of the risk of not doing anything. So start before you're ready. You don't have to be 100%.
Yep, absolutely. And it really just jives with the whole concept of the sausage machine, because I spent years putting in almost there. And what that resulted was I was almost there. You're almost ready to go out there and do this. You just need to learn this program. You're almost ready to be there. You just need to get your portfolio site up and running and before you can do that. And so definitely start before you're ready. But we'll go ahead and sign off. We're going to be doing more updates with this, with the course. And I'm going to post this in the chats and also post a link to the course. You can go, if you're on Udemy, you can go register for it for free. And just begin to check it out, and hopefully, definitely give us feedback. If you find anything that could be better or could be worse, let us know, because we'll definitely. One of the biggest things that I think is going to come out of this course is really just the overall experience of taking a concept and putting it into the sandbox, specifically Udemy. And we've got a ton of really great insights moving forward to make the next course even better. So I'm excited to, I'm just excited to see where it all goes. But Brian, thanks so much for your time. Any last words before we sign off?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's been an awesome secret journey.
Special ops, man. I love it. Well, hey, man, enjoy your time in Portland, and we look forward to seeing you real soon. Everybody out there, thanks so much for your time, and we'll talk to you soon.